The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Well, Burning Brad, I couldn't get my intro to load, so
What the hell?
I don't know what happened. I tried.
Jarring.
It's not loading in the bottom here. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is
What
like
a disaster. How are you supposed to get on the right wavelength?
I don't know. I don't know if StreamYard changed something
Man.
because I feel like naked
Because
right
you were
now.
screwing around with the title?
Maybe. No, probably not.
Jeez.
Let me try something here.
Just
but
go in raw, I guess.
I'm not confident I can fix this.
Jeez. I usually
just-
like take a shower during the intro,
I don't know.
have a sandwich.
I don't
Watch a
understand
movie.
what happened to something weird with my files, man.
Sorry guys, Devolution's canceled. The show is not, but I think that's a sign.
The Devolution is. But anyway,
Perhaps.
welcome everybody to the Wednesday edition of the Devolution Power Hour with girls. We, if you're watching on Instagram, we're doing a little test run because we always get replaced on Rumble by the After Hours with Girls show. And so I did title the episode on Instagram Power Hour with Girls. And we're going to see, I bet we're going to get like 1 million views tonight just because of that. So
I don't think you can downvote on Instagram either, so
yeah,
Joke's on
this
them.
is going to be good. And I think we found the hack. We're just going to start putting with girls after every show name. Why we vote with girls, breaking history with girls.
I also think we should file a class action lawsuit against Fresh and Fit because
girls?
the implication is that there are both fresh and fit girls or one or the other. And I would say that very rarely do they pass the fresh and they almost never pass the fit test. They never pass the fresh test, I would guess.
I would have to ask you how would you know whether or not like the freshness?
You can
like,
just see it. I feel like, there's a certain energy.
I feel like that can be deceiving though. It's like an avocado, right? You can look at an avocado and be like, I don't know, eye test, that looks pretty fresh, but then you go and feel it and it's like it's squishy in spots it's not supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like
Right. I don't think they want to get to discovery though, is what I'm saying. So sometimes that's enough.
also, is the Fresh and Fit supposed to be like the guy hosts?
Maybe that's what it is the whole time.
I don't know. But then too, like I feel like
Racially
they would-
ambiguous, kind of
wouldn't
Moroccan-ish looking guys.
I wonder how they're
You know who
feeling.
they
about-
remind me of? They
What?
remind me of the racially ambiguous men that come just close enough to assaulting you working at kiosks in malls, and they really want you to smell stuff. Like those guys, where you're always like,
too many of those.
are you Greek, Moroccan, Albanian? Like, what's going on with this? And is this a money laundering op? Well, it is a money laundering operation always.
Yeah.
But
Do you know some malls, like, they're terrible on purpose because they're write-offs for, like, huge real estate developers? Like, we have a mall in
kiosks
Bismarck.
or the mall?
The malls themselves. We have 2 malls in Bismarck. And the north one is just, like, There's not many stores. Most of them, the stores are vacant. Like nobody's ever there, and the stores that are there are super random. And it's like, how the hell does this place make money? And when I was selling doors and windows way back in the day, me and my boss were talking about that. He's like, oh yeah, they don't make money. They don't make money on purpose because it's a write-off for the guy who actually owns it. He owns a bunch of property down in California, and he wants those properties to be the good ones.
Interesting. I've always wondered that with these malls, especially like in the last 10, 20 years, because there is no way. You'll go into these malls and you'll see like the iPhone case store.
Yeah.
Like, what are you selling 2 of these a day?
I mean,
2 $10 cases?
I don't know how anybody would buy that stuff. I guess I have like my phone, whatever that's called on the back. Don't mind, my daughter gave me a unicorn sticker, but the Trump thing, whatever that thing is called, I bought that at a mall kiosk once because I had to have it.
Kept them afloat. They saw the sale come through.
The quota for the month.
Sign up for another month. Yeah. That's interesting. That makes more sense because I have wondered. I'm like, are these brands using stores as huge loss leaders? But at a certain point, how much can you lose? But if they're basically paying no rent, they're probably all on barter deals. Like
probably
the malls. These places probably barely pay any rent.
I'll give you 16 fidget spinners and 1 iPhone case for rent this month.
Yeah, for 2,000 square feet.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, does anybody do you want to like recite the intro video for everybody since we didn't play it?
Man, how does it start? Now I'm totally discombobulated.
I need some music, but I ain't got the music. I mean, I could pull it up elsewhere and share my screen if we really need it.
Too far.
I wonder if something happened to my folders. Did I get hacked?
Uh-oh. Stole all your Bitcoin and the intro.
Yeah. Oh, that would be my luck. Well, hold on. I need to do a double check.
You are sounding a little glitchy, so maybe you need to
Am I?
Free up some RAM. Only for a second.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'll figure this out later. Tonight's show, though, should be a fun one. We got, I think, plenty to talk about. And none of it's like new stories, but it's updates on old stories. So like the Iran war, for instance. Nothing's really changed, but everything's changed.
John, it's a perpetually violated ceasefire.
Yes,
okay.
But also it is a war, but it's also not a war because for various different reasons. Because if you call it a war, then you get in trouble in the truth community.
Exactly.
And also tonight, like there's posts everywhere. It's we have launched our defense strikes, but now we're done with our defense strikes. Like, do you guys know what defense strikes mean? Like, that's not a real word. A strike in and of itself is by definition offensive.
At least the Bush administration said preemptive strikes.
Yeah.
They didn't say defensive strikes.
Yeah, I'll find you which command was it that's over there?
To me, that in a nutshell is like the dialectic that's going on here. And it's either that we are in a really bad spot as a nation, or more likely that this is part of the game that's being played. Like, is the media actually going to report that we are launching defensive strikes?
Self-defense strikes.
Self-defense strikes. Yeah,
they're retaliatory strikes. Let's call them what they are. They're retaliatory strikes. But whatever. We're going to use the label self-defense strikes. It is what it is. So we got that, and us stealing a bunch of oil from Iran, a super top secret operation. Nobody's supposed to talk about it, but so naturally Trump did. We'll talk about that. We have election stuff we can get into. The DNI, we can decode some DNI stuff if you guys are feeling up for it. There was another story. What was it? I can't remember.
Some AI stuff.
AI stuff. Congress stuff too. Trump is calling on Congress to not only could they not pass the SAVE Act, like that, they're having a hard time just doing that. Now they want to also pass it with a big military spending bill, raising it up to like $1.5 trillion in defense spending, which, if we're being honest with ourselves, the only people who benefit from that kind of spending are the military and defense contractors, So like most normal citizens should not be okay with raising expenditures like that, especially in the deficit and debt that we're running. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I personally think he's trying to nuke the entire thing. But
there's
we'll
another read on that is related to the story you preceded it with.
Yeah.
Because there may be an AI connection there.
Could be. Yeah, that clip where he talks about everybody getting rich and shit. Yeah.
Well, there's that, but I'll get into it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just feel so weirded out right now because I didn't get that intro video in.
Well, it gives us a little more time before we get replaced by the thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's get a quick word from our sponsor, and then you can pick. We can either start with the DNI stuff, the election fraud stuff, or Iran stuff.
Do you are we using the right background? Because I don't see our sponsors there.
The sponsors we have tonight are Rumble Studio ones. We don't use a background. So
that makes sense.
Mind your own business. Sure. And
well, you fucked everything up tonight royally.
That's true.
So let's not just double checking. Yeah, we'll start with the fake wars, I think.
I was going to come out and talk so much like positive things about Claude and all the cool things I'm doing, and then I'm pretty sure it hacked my computer and removed some
Claude's
files.
Just going through all your shit right now, being
That's
like,
in the
man,
wrong
get some
folder.
stuff in here.
Oh, man. Anyway, okay. First up, we got Rumble Wallet. Frederick Leather Scott had other plans than the intro. That's true. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part that most people miss. Crypto was created so you could actually own and control your own money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you are the one in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you've felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today, everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels complicated. That's exactly why we use Rumble Wallet. It takes all that complexity, makes it super simple. You choose what you want, whether that's Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. There's no complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. And once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators, like those of us here at Badlands, directly. So do this now, scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tab buy, and you're in the game. In just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. And let's also get a quick word from Soft Disclosure.
A long, long time ago, a raider went into a dangerous cave. Because he was on an adventure. Or like he smelled like an adventure. But the cave was protected by spiders and lizards. No, it was snakes. Snakes? Why did it have to be snakes? Whatever it was, the raider wasn't scared of it because it was Ghost, the lotion raider. Then he found the golden deodorant. That's not deodorant, that's the towel bar. It was Soft Disclosure. Ghost had exactly 1 second to switch it, or the whole cave explodes! And then the boulders started chasing him. Run, Ghost, run! Oh no, he dropped the Soft Disclosure. I got it. I understand its power now. That lotion is an important artifact, and it belongs in every household. Visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code LotionRaider for 15% off.
Promo code LotionRaider, softdisclosure.com. All right, man. Did you choose?
Yeah, let's go with the Iran stuff because it's pretty funny this week.
You would.
We have the latest that. Where is it? Trump said.
I'll pull it up on screen.
Pull up his tweet, his truth. I think this is the latest on the Iran war anyway. This is the super secret mission. Last month, I directed our great U.S. military to execute a series or a secret mission to support oil tankers and other commercial ships.
Hold on. Are you doing this in order?
Maybe not.
I think we should go through this chronologically.
Okay.
Don't you think?
I guess. Let's go with Trump himself then.
Yes. Go down. I think you have to go back to I think it was before.
Today.
Yeah, it was today.
Oh, man, it's so exhausting with that feed now.
Oh, I know.
He's got his gems in there. So he went after Stephen A. Smith in between the war posts about Iran. All right, let me get
this is the first one.
Okay.
And then keep your screen up though, because the one that you just had on the screen is next.
Iran's military, right here.
Hold on, let me read mine first, and then you go.
Okay.
I've just been informed by our great military that last night the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Keep in mind, this was posted on June 9th, yesterday, at 11:38 a.m. Okay? So they bombed us, or attacked one of our helicopters. This is on the heels of over the weekend, Israel and Iran are like trading missile shots and everything. And Trump's like, okay, guys, stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. Don't respond. And then he comes out and is like, okay, but we're going to respond. Like, Israel, you can't respond. We don't want you to respond, but we're going to respond.
Right.
Now you can do yours. Yeah, we had to.
Yeah. Then today he says Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like their Navy and Air Force, doesn't even exist anymore. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. Right? So, which is definitely something you say while saying you are not at war and are in the midst of a ceasefire.
Yep.
He then later on said...
Well, hold on. You missed one about the blockade and the fake news. Go down a little bit further. A little bit further. Right there, the fake news.
Oh, okay. Fake news media refuses to report how effective the U.S. naval blockade is. The most successful blockade in the history of naval warfare. Nothing gets through unless we want it to. It's a steel wall. Iran is doing zero business, not paying their military or any of their bills, and quickly becoming a failed nation. Lots of oil is getting out. Praise be to Allah. I forgot he said that.
Yeah, so good. So good.
That's great. We got that one, and related to it, we had the follow-up on the oil. This was coming right on the heels, I was saying to John before the show, of Zero Hedge and a bunch of financial media have been basically saying, if the surface level narrative that we have all been being told for 3 months was accurate, namely that the Strait of Hormuz was as closed as it was said to be by like all sides, then oil wouldn't be trading at $85, $90 a barrel. It would be at 200, pretty much. Like, that's what all the analysts say. So a lot of them were saying there is no way that the Strait is fully closed. And I thought this was interesting timing because it felt to me like I saw this stuff on all the financial media I read on a daily basis. This was like the major news story of today. Earlier today, before Trump posted this at, when was this, 1:50 p.m. So all morning, Zero Hedge and all these financial traders are like, I feel like ships are getting through because this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. And Trump then, it feels like one of those news unlocks thing. He says, last month I directed our great U.S. military to execute a secret mission to support oil tankers and other commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Today, I am pleased to announce this effort has resulted in more than 100 million barrels of oil making its way through the Strait and into the open market. More than 200 commercial ships have safely traveled through the Strait. This wildly successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. Their military is defeated. Their economy is lost. It's over for Iran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And
let me play the video of this, too. I think this is worth...
Yeah.
It's him talking about it.
This war is over. You know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. Mm-hmm. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, We had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we had to make the second move. And I said, the bad part is the stock market will go down by a lot based on predictions of.
What I think is funny, and why I pointed out that post earlier where he's like, we got struck by them and we have no choice but to retaliate. Trump just said the other night we took out 22. Like, did Iran shoot at a helicopter that was like covering us taking out tankers? What, like stealing their oil? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then we're going to retaliate because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole retaliation tit for tat is just surface level hilarious. I mean, the latest statement, and this wasn't a statement from his Truth Social feed, but these are all like unnamed sources, but or this was on Fox News. Let's see what this guy said about Trump's latest. Actually, we'll get to it after this. On the oil tanker and oil situation, I think there's a few interesting things going on. I mean, at the end of that clip you just played, Trump gets to a point that I've made on this show for a few months, which is that one of the big exposures coming off of this Strait of Hormuz situation is not just the energy situation. That's probably the macro sort of theme. A secondary theme is that global financial markets are fake. And by that I mean they are comprised and informed entirely by narrative. And way back in March, when it had only been going on for, 3 weeks or something, we did an episode where I was showing Zero Hedge, Rabobank, a few different financial like alt media types who were saying, they were calling it Schrodinger's war. Because even back in March, remember, Trump one day was, in the morning he was saying the war's on, at night it's off, at morning it's on, night it's off. I think that trend only accelerated through May, where it became a daily thing, which we talked about the last couple of weeks. At the beginning of the conflict, it was almost a weekly cycle, where on Friday, there would be really bad news that would come out about what was going on in Iran. And then on Sunday, there'd be really good news. And the financial market analysts were basically saying, okay, there's a very real and serious war going on here, but they are using narratives to manipulate financial markets. Now we're at the point where there's like this cynical, confused resignation in the financial media anytime anyone says anything about the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's Trump or the Iranian regime, because they're at the point where it doesn't matter. Like this morning, Trump said we were good.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the day, they asked him, what's your next move? And he said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Iran during the ceasefire. Keep in mind, he's not going to bomb it without violating the ceasefire. He's just going to, bomb the shit out of the city. Of course, all of this is fake, but I think there's a little bit of a humiliation ritual going on these analysts. And then besides that, I think there's a genuine exposure going on that he highlights at the end of that clip you played, where I think he is suggesting the global oil supply has not been materially affected in any way. And it's unfortunate that the markets front ran news that they would be disrupted. And I've started to invert that. I used to think, okay, there is a disruption in energy, physical energy markets because of this.
Yeah.
That eventually is going to be undone. I have completely inverted that and gone full fake. I think there has not been a physical change in energy markets. I think it is entirely a narrative change, and I think Trump is saying the suppliers have the oil. And the markets, oil prices are not dictated largely based on the price of a barrel of oil that these suppliers are selling for. It's basically being priced at the end of the chain by futures markets. And now, we're starting to see prices fall a little bit. I mean, it's still not great. But I think the reason there's no real meaningful change going on. In fact, my theory on this, these ships got through, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. I think ships have been going through the whole time, and I think that they're trying to pass off narratives to explain why oil prices are dropping. And I think the only reason oil prices are dropping is because the suppliers still have the oil. So the market basically can't keep the prices artificially elevated anymore. They don't have the narrative to keep them artificially inflated. And I think Trump is kind of telling you can apply this to anything in the financial markets, not just oil. But he's saying like, yeah, we've got oil. The U.S. is doing fine on oil. It's too bad that prediction markets, I think that's the term he used, prediction markets, have been saying we're not going to. So your gas at the pump has been higher. Well, why are we paying futures prices for oil starting at the first day of this conflict that was purchased 3 months earlier? None of it's ever made any sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. I wish he would actually come out and directly say that because I mean, he's kind of hinting at that rhetoric, but he's not directly saying it necessarily, and he should be, because you're right. We don't know whether or not the oil is coming out or not. We can only get access to what we've been told. Gas a month ago was like at $4.50. That was the national average. It's down to $4.15. And a lot of the stories lately surrounding gas is like the suppliers are telling us that they're depleting all their reserves and they expect prices to go up. Yeah, we've had like stories since Thursday or Friday last week saying pretty much that. Like, we're in for a rough one here if this war doesn't end soon. And yet, as they're saying those stories, the national gas price. What?
Sorry, I said, and now these ships are through all of a sudden on the back of those narratives.
Well, no, what I was interested in is that the actual price of gas was contradicting the stories that they were running. They're like, yeah, we're kind of freaking out here because our oil is going to run out. Yet the gas price continues to come down every single day, even if it's only by like, a quarter cent, half cent, whatever. I thought that was just interesting. It's like weird. It's like if the prediction markets were doing what they normally do, they would be loving this fear mongering and shooting the price back up. So I don't know. There's something weird going on. Also with the Iran situation and like the peace talks and the negotiations. Part of the deal that we were told was coming was that the Strait of Hormuz would be fully blockaded still for like 60 days until they finished their discussion on the nukes or whatever, the nuclear dust. And so now that Trump is confirming that, like, yeah, we've been taking oil out, I wonder if, and confirm, I use the word confirming loosely, I wonder if, I don't know, like, to me, that's him, like, giving up on the deal. He's like, yeah, we're not going to get the deal anymore. Now I can kind of disclose that, yeah, we've been fucking you guys this entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's from the framing of that we are fighting with the Iranian regime. And this is the type of show where we don't have to employ that framing. I don't. My framing of this is that it's part of the, I've been calling it sovereign disentanglement or a disentanglement operation. Sergei Lavrov used that exact word like 2 weeks after I wrote that article. He said the Iranian knot has to be untangled rather than cut. And I think, so from that premise, I think you've got a game of chicken going on here. We've been talking about that as well. But even if you go back to the oil prices that you were just talking about, isn't it kind of interesting that back in January, we obviously had this whole Venezuela absolute resolve narrative run. And right during that window, Trump had all the oil industry executives at the Oval Office for sort of the Red Wedding. And we played some clips of that at the time where he was particularly going after ExxonMobil and some of these guys and being like, fuck you, basically, about crying about losing your monopoly on the Venezuelan market.
Yeah.
Well, early on in this, before I spent 3 months being autistic about like what drives oil prices on the back of this, I was confused at the beginning saying, well, if we're the world's like foremost supplier or, should be one of the world's most energy independent nations, why are our oil prices skyrocketing on the back of this? And why are the American oil companies at the beginning of this crisis freaking out when ostensibly this crisis was granting them the perfect shielding to gouge all of us, as we just talked about? They're making record profits right now. So why are they freaking out? And I think it's because this has been a disentanglement operation where all of these foreign nations that these American production companies have basically had monopolies over are now onshoring their own production. Everybody's drawing inward because of this grand narrative, first Venezuela, now the Strait of Hormuz. And these companies know that they can no longer lever this. So if they have, and we also had, I believe it was the UAE, has been the first of the Gulf states to publicly announce that they're leaving OPEC.
Yeah, they already left.
And they left. And that's massive because that is what has been artificially raising a floor for oil prices. They all agree on the floor, not the ceiling. So that's been rugged from them, from American energy producers who are selling into that same global market. If the Middle East starts undercutting everybody on energy prices, the American companies are going to have to start following them down. And I think that's the game of chicken that's going on here. Like, the central narrative has been all about Donald Trump warring with Venezuela that we're now best friends with, and the oil's coming out of it, as Trump keeps telling us, and warring with the Iranian regime. Meanwhile, the people that are most pissed at Trump are the energy companies that should be raking in record profits right now. So why is that? What is he actually disentangling? What is he actually going after? And I think it's the global energy cartel. And I don't think that that is the Iranian regime. I think that's these companies that have been levering it, and it's not just American companies.
Is it City
British
of London?
Petroleum.
Is those companies?
I was going to say British Petroleum. Yeah, it comes from there. But yeah, everything is the City of London now. But, you know, I think, I'm not saying that's the only thing that's going on, but I sort of think this is one of those games of chicken where Trump and the Iranian regime are just going back and forth with the same narrative every single day that nobody can independently corroborate. And meanwhile, it's like he's just staring down the energy markets and saying, you guys going to come down now or what? Because nothing has actually changed on a material level.
Yeah. I saw our views going down, and I went to check if we got replaced by Fresh and Fit. We haven't. I think somebody's bought us right
weird.
now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. But yeah, man, I didn't listen to like the second half of what you said there, but
it's okay.
I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it was good stuff. The energy stuff, you know, I don't pretend to be an expert on a lot of that stuff. I obviously know that Trump is not the enemy he's facing over there is not the one that everybody thinks it is. I may not know 100% who it is. I still love Ghost Frame, and I can't get it out of my head, and he keeps like bringing it up now and then. What if Trump is fighting a proxy war with Israel using Iran? And I just it just hits home. So some of the stuff, some of the rhetoric, especially after Trump called Israel to be like, yeah, guys, don't bomb them back. Don't do that when they were pushing for it. And then Israel and people, you know, supportive of them was like, hey, maybe we should just like tell the United States to go home and we'll just do this ourselves because they're not going to give us the green light to fire back at Iran.
Yeah.
That is the best case scenario, in my opinion, because I didn't want to be over there in the first place, right? Best case scenario is Israel telling the United States to go home. All the people that are pro-Israel here that are like pro-Trump, bomb the shit out of Iran for Israel, are they going to be mad at us for going home when they're the ones asking us to do it? Like I would love to see that actually happen.
Say that they knew that was the plan all along.
I'm sure.
But yeah, I agree with that, and I just think there's multiple kind of enemies on the game board that are being isolated. You know, ghost framing of Israel makes sense. Or in my earliest writing on this year, I was talking about another group, another quote unquote enemy that's been exposed as a part of this whole thing is NATO, the NATO alliance. Okay, so the Freshies.
It was Fresh and Fit. I was wrong.
All right. The NATO alliance has been completely exposed as a result of this. People watching a show like this, and even many MAGA normies have already known that NATO's a paper tiger. But, you know, remember in March, most of Trump's rhetoric at the start of this fake war was against our allies. It was saying that he was using the term paper tiger and saying Europe doesn't back us up. They don't have our back. They're not helping us free up the Strait. And then that was leading to a global conversation of why not? Well, is this political? Is this cultural? Oh, it turns out they don't have militaries anymore that can do anything like what we're doing over there. So that was a big exposure. And, you know, there's many different narrative unwinds or disentanglements that I think can come on the back of this. One is the one Ghost talks about the most, as you just pointed out. However it's going to happen, the public mandate for American entanglement in the Middle East and specifically on Israel's behalf is at record lows. And that's like all sides are telling you that. The people who are pro-Zionist, the people who are anti-Zionist, everybody in between is telling you Israel has never been less popular in the American mind on a bipartisan basis right now. I don't think that's a bad thing. U.S. involvement in foreign wars has never been less popular than it is right now. And Europe has never been less popular than it is right now in the American mind. Canada has never been less popular. And the irony is, America has never been less popular to Canadians and to Europe than it is right now. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think part of what's going on here is Trump is basically just dominating the game board in such a way right now that it is forcing even the globalist collectivist nations to act sovereign. You've got Mark Carney up in Canada all of a sudden deploying like Canadian Trump rhetoric about how he's going to make Canada strong again. Why is he doing that? He's responding to what Trump is doing. And I think it's that Kobayashi Maru framing I always use, where I think Trump has basically put the globalist superstructure in this position where if they go along with what he wants them to do, they're assisting him in disentangling the world from the globalist system. And if they resist it, the only way they can resist what he's doing is through nationalism. So it's like a perfect paradox. And that's why I don't think he minds how long this is taking, quote unquote.
Oh yeah. He doesn't care how long this goes on.
Yeah.
Exposing a lot of people. But we should transition into his most recent post on True Social, because he talks about the military and the budget, and he ties it into passing the Save America Act. And I think this is pretty interesting. Unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about. Okay.
It's the same old. It'll be the same thing next Wednesday, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we are allegedly bombing now for the first time in a while. So.
But he said, he didn't say though that negates what he said yesterday, which was that in 2 or 3 days we would have the deal.
Yeah. He said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we'll have a deal. And then he said they have until tomorrow to sign the deal. Okay. Or we're going to bomb the shit out of them. But we've also already started the bombing, but there's self-defense strikes. Right. So they don't count as real strikes.
And if they respond to these self-defense strikes, we will defend ourselves vigorously.
And yes, in self-defense. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's not a war. It's not a war.
No.
It's just mutual self-defense. Mutually assured self-defense. Something like that. This is like an hour ago, I think. Yeah, roughly 2 hours ago. No other president has ever been more committed to both rebuilding our great military and saving our great country. And now's the time to make it happen for generations to come. I'm hereby calling on Republicans in Congress to immediately advance and pass the forthcoming $350 billion reconciliation bill, Recon 3, which at the request of our great Department of War will include the Save America Act as well. No games, no delays, and no weak compromises. Do this ASAP. Keep this in mind, that because it's a reconciliation bill, they do not need the full 60 votes to pass it. They just need the 51 or 50-50 with J.D. Vance as the tiebreaker. This is a generational investment in our military, even bigger than President Reagan's Recon 3. Even bigger than President Reagan's. Recon 3 is the only path to the full $1.5 trillion military budget our warriors need in order to build the arsenal of freedom. I love how he's branding it now. The arsenal of freedom.
Yep.
We will defend the homeland with the Golden Dome, launch the unstoppable Golden Fleet, dominate the skies with the F-47 and the B-21, supercharge our ammunition stockpiles, and achieve total Space Force and drone dominance. This budget reignites American industry, creates hundreds of thousands of high-paying American jobs, and secures our global dominance without feeling inflation. Also, the Save America Act will protect our elections for generations to come. Our warriors protect our most sacred rights, and voting is at the top. Time to defend that right for every American. Pass all $350 billion and the Save America Act to secure the nation for our children and grandchildren. And he goes through the entire list of the Save America Act, of which 2 of them are not actually in there. The all American voters must show photo ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military travel. And then the two parts that aren't actually in the bill: no men's and women's sports, and no transgender mutilization surgery for our children. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And my comment on this mainly hinges on this $1.5 trillion military budget. Considering our deficit, considering the debt, it's going to be $40 trillion by the end of this year, I think. Currently running at like a $1.8 trillion deficit. Not saying that the golden age is going to come and all those great things and money's not going to come rolling in. Tariffs are being a little delayed. We're having to pay some of that back. Things have not gone as, according to what we were told the plan was initially. And so I am not too thrilled about a $1.5 trillion defense budget. I think that's absurd. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But so for them to be like trying to sneak in the Save America Act and increase the military budget for that, I'd much rather our money go to the military than foreign countries or, fraud and all these other things. If you got rid of those and did this, it'd be a little more palatable. But to me, it's like, is he trying to tank both these things in one fell swoop? Because that's a reading of it, but I know you have a different reading.
Well, I don't know which is right. I think it's good to explore. The counter reading, I'll bring up a couple articles that I saved. I think this was back in April. Here we go. This was the Wall Street Journal. So this was, April 15th. Pentagon approaches automakers and manufacturers to boost weapons productions. Senior defense officials have talks with GM, Ford, and others about shifting capacity. Trump administration wants automakers and other American manufacturers to play a larger role in weapons production, reminiscent of a practice used during World War II. So keep that in mind. And then here, this was Zero Hedge's framing of it. War economy returns. From trucks to tanks, Pentagon looks to automakers to rebuild America's arsenal. Now, what you're talking about is beyond that. But I had saved this because I've been working on an article on again, off again for a while, all about this war economy idea. The way I look at this, and this is tied directly into the AI stuff, I think this is a bunch of bullshit, and that this is the switch theory that we've been talking about on the Power Hour for years. Trump or whoever feels that they need what I would call a translation layer in order to justify CapEx, the likes of capital expenditure, the likes of which only the biggest private companies can spend, right? If you're the American government, the whole narrative, including that Trump has been touting before he became president again publicly, is austerity, cutting the debt, cutting the budget, all this kind of stuff, right? That doesn't jive with record spending. So I think he's using this war economy framing as the means of getting the uniparty on board with it. Ironically, a lot of the criticisms you would have about this and that you just voiced, I think he is leaning into that and saying, okay, $1.5 trillion, but what's it all going toward? Before we even touch on AI, they're approaching all the biggest American car manufacturers and steel manufacturers, all this kind of stuff in the country, and asking them to allocate their supply chains to the government, basically, to government projects and defense contractors. Even last week, and many times for years on the show, we've been talking about who's the biggest defense contractor. It's SpaceX, it's Tesla, it's Elon Musk, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not even making this whole thing about Elon Musk, but if you pay attention to who's getting defense contracts, it's not defense companies. It's not exclusively defense companies anymore. If this headline came out in 2004, we would be seeing Raytheon, Halliburton, all that. And I'm sure they're getting contracts too for weapons and missiles and all that. But the companies that are getting the deals in 2026 and 2027, it's Anthropic and SpaceX and Tesla and OpenAI and Meta and Google and Amazon is getting defense contracts because they're data centers. And what is the big, if you believe that there is this golden age switch going on, what we used to talk about before Trump 2.0 was the data center build out in the United States. Well, that's not all being funded with private enterprise. what he's disclosing here, in my opinion, and actually there was a Department of Energy comment, Ghost put it in the chat yesterday, where they're talking about the nuclear build out. All of this is being framed as defense, national economic defense, national kinetic defense, the Golden Dome, all this kind of stuff. I don't think Trump is building new missiles. I think that's a narrative translation layer. What he's actually doing is diverting record military spending into a complete transformation of American manufacturing and technology. And all of it is being framed as a war economy. And the last point on it would be the reason World War II is important to keep in mind. If you get the war part out of the way, what is considered the golden decade of the United States, the best decade of the United States, bar none, is the 1950s. It's not even close. Why? Because on the back of World War II, all of the American military-industrial complex funded a reconstruction of the United States, while Europe was literally rebuilding itself because American contractors got all the contracts to rebuild Europe. So I think, and my framing in my writing has been, we are getting a new 1950s golden age boom. It's going to be military spending again and reconstruction, but the wars are going to be fake this time.
Man, I may have to debunk some of what you said, and I hate to do it. But I'm looking at USA spending right now.
Mm-hmm.
USAspending.gov. I'm looking at, this is the year 2026. This is everything awarded by the Department of Defense. And it is interesting they have Department of Defense here still instead of Department of War.
Yeah.
And this is like in order of biggest ones, and they're all like your traditional one. Humana Government is the biggest. Electric Boat Corporation, never even heard of them. Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. Actually, haven't even seen SpaceX on here yet, but I know they just got one recently.
These are all new deals. The AI deals he's been having these summits about in 2026. So I don't even know if these are inked or anything yet.
Yeah.
Plus, they could be DOE deals, or at least that was the nuclear build out is DOE.
I could add them in here too. Department of, I was going to show this real quick too. Where did I have that article? Because I had an article talking about the third reconciliation bill. I thought this was interesting in notable context. This came out, is today the 10th? Today's the 10th, right? This came out today. Two Republicans on the Senate Appropriations Committee warned Tuesday that a third reconciliation package to supplement the Trump administration's $1.5 trillion defense budget is really not an option, raising concerns about the future of key Pentagon priorities such as munitions production and the Defense Department's ambitious Golden Dome mission shield. Senator Mitch McConnell, still can't believe that guy's alive, the Defense Subcommittee Chairman, and Suzanne Collins, who's probably going to lose to that, the Nazi guy, Plantner. Yeah. The Appropriations Committee Chairwoman publicly acknowledged that Congress is unlikely to approve the $350 billion in reconciliation funding the Pentagon is counting on to support its massive $1.5 trillion budget request. And this was this morning. This was before Trump's post. So is Trump's post going to get it over the edge? Maybe. But it's not a good sign when two of the Republicans on the subcommittee, the Appropriations Committee, even to get it to the floor to vote, isn't going along with it. So maybe this is Trump's way of like continuing to put pressure on the Senate to like show people like, hey, I want this done. The people, because I want it done, all the people who cheerlead are going to want that done too. Why isn't the Senate doing it? Yeah. And therefore, it like puts a ton of pressure on the Senate. Not that they cave to public pressure. They cannot be held accountable by us because of the illegitimate voting systems that we have in place, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that's one reading of that as well, you know?
Yeah, I had sent this. I think this came out the day after our last show. I had sent it to you, but as an example, because I think last week we talked a lot about the GOP and the Uniparty and all that. And we talked about the Atlantic that night as a signal setter. Well, the next morning, June 4th, is the GOP starting to defy Trump. Republicans aren't automatically falling in line anymore. So this is a big op-ed. There were a bunch, though, that came out that day. that same day, there was like Axios, there was The Atlantic, there was the Wall Street Journal. There was all these different mouthpieces that came out with op-eds talking about this GOP revolt against Trump. And to your point, I think there's many streams going on at once here. I do think we're having this switch theory. I do think we're entering a new war economy. I mean, Trump is literally framing every single economic move he makes as a national defense directive.
Which I like. The economy I can see why he frames it that way. I would too.
But I do agree that whether this is an attempt to directly tank the SAVE Act or not, leaving that aside, I do think Trump is calling attention in his MAGA base to the fact that, I mean, the thing that I think only we have really been saying consistently, maybe don't put all your trust in the GOP, since it doesn't really seem like they're on the Trump agenda. They seem to be blocking him. For everybody that keeps just going on and on about how we need to win the midterms, I mean, sure, fine. But don't we have Congress right now? And then the response is usually like, oh, well, yeah, but there's like a dozen bad eggs in there. It's like, there's always a dozen bad eggs in there and that keep stopping these things. They only need a certain number to block Trump's agendas, at least in the House. Obviously, they can't in the Senate right now. But, you know, I do think he's drawing attention to that and saying, like, I think the way I'd put it, I don't know if it was on this show or not, but I think it was on this show. Does Trump seem like he is trying to get his agenda through Congress or around Congress? And I would say most of his public statements, without even playing 5D chess about it, he like precedes the inevitable counter from Congress by telling the media that he's got a bunch of workarounds already figured out. And yet I'm supposed to believe that the midterm, like the MAGA agenda, depends entirely on who fucking wins the midterms. When Trump doesn't even know who's in Congress, as much as his whole True Social feed is endorsements, right? Copy and paste endorsements every night that we have to look at the entire year. Like, please, Donnie, create a separate account for that.
Trump totally wrote every one of those, Bernie Brad. I don't know what you're talking about.
And it's heartfelt.
Yeah,
MAGA warrior, insert X name here.
Speaking of elections, we could transition over to the election fraud stuff if you want, but we do have another sponsor. I wonder if we can get to it here. And we may have a new soft disclosure ad for the people, which is pretty, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm a little I don't know. I don't know if we should do it. What?
Do we have a new character? Oh, you want to just do it raw?
Well, first we got to do Chef IQ, but then yeah, we might do it. Let's do Chef IQ real quick. Father's Day is coming up, and if you don't know what to get Dad, this is it. Skip the random last-minute gift and get him something he'll actually use every single week. Chef IQ Sense is a smart wireless thermometer that connects to your phone and tells you exactly when your food is done. No guesswork. It tracks your cooked in real time, walks you through every step, and tells you exactly when to flip, pull, rest, and serve. So instead of, I think it's done, you get, I know it's perfect. No more overcooked steaks or dry chicken. We're talking restaurant-level results at home. Steak, burgers, chicken, fish on the grill, in the oven, even the smoker. And the best part, you don't have to babysit anything. Watch the game, hang with the family. Your phone handles it. It's basically like having a cooking coach in your pocket. Right now for Father's Day, get 40% off site-wide at chefiq.com with code DPH. That's chefiq.com, promo code DPH. Cook smarter with Chef IQ Sense. And I can vouch for the Chef IQ. As I've always said, and my girlfriend loves it when I say this, she was a terrible cook until she got the Chef IQ, and it's totally revolutionized her cooking. And she'll probably back that statement up that I just said.
I think part of going back to the 50s and getting a new 50s going here is forcing women back into the kitchen.
Yeah, we should put that in the reconciliation bill.
Like, if we are not guiding America toward just what used to be the cover of Monopoly or Life, the board game, then I don't want to be involved.
I'm with you, man. Let's watch this quick video on election stuff. Then I'll decide if I want to play the soft disclosure ad. So just a little context for those who have been living under a rock. Last week, it was last week, Tuesday, right? We had the the primaries down in a few places around the country, but one of them was L.A. And Spencer Pratt came out of it election night. He was in second place, and they've slowly but surely stolen it from him, very obviously. But they didn't steal it for Steve Hilton. Now, I do want to play a couple things or show you a couple things from other people talking about the Spencer Pratt situation, but I thought Trump's framing and discussion about Steve Hilton was interesting, especially if you consider what happened to Trump in 2024, where everybody thought they were going to steal it from him. They didn't. It's like, why would they not do that? They obviously have it in place, but they're like, we couldn't risk actually exposing our election fraud. We had to preserve that, so we allowed him in there. It's kind of what Trump says happened with Steve Hilton.
And look at the election in California as an example. After a week, they determined that the kid who's leading and had all the mojo, all of a sudden he doesn't make the runoff. And then I hit them hard on that, but I started talking about Steve Hilton, who's a fantastic guy. And I saw them say it was going to be 2 weeks before they knew. And I started hitting them. It's going to happen to Steve Hilton, too. It's watch. You got to watch. And they approved Steve Hilton very quickly. They didn't want to. There was too much heat on him. The only reason he got approved, he had all the votes he needed, probably to be first place. But the only reason they approved Steve Hilton, it was going to be 2 weeks. They said it. And then they approved him that night because the heat was on them, because they're cheating dogs. And you can't have a great country when that happens. That's why Los Angeles, that's why that state is in such trouble.
Yeah, so he pretty much says it. It's like, because they put the pressure on it.
Well, and this is what Chris most strongly in 2024 in the lead up was saying about that election, right? Like, it's not all hindsight, despite what people claim. It is possible to apply these logical frameworks to the future, which sometimes is more worthwhile than applying them to the past, because then you can act accordingly. But yeah, this is why when people emotionally basically freaked out, the inflection point of when a certain number of people decided to freak out about Badlands, it was basically because they couldn't handle what Trump just said there. Obviously, he's applying that framework to one specific individual because people, I think, even earnest people who were freaking out about us at that time, 2024, early 2025, were saying like, I don't get it, Trump won, etc. And this has been the framework. It's not to be a doomer and say the American election system is still fraudulent. It's to say, if you blindly cheer for a result at the end of a fraudulent system that you wanted, you are then codifying the system that gave you that result. And you see this just across, way outside of the info war. You see this in normie media all the time, and all these influencer shills, that good result happens in election, and for MAGA, the subhead is always MAGA endorsed candidate wins, another one, we're overwhelming them, this is proof that we are the majority in the country, and then we lose and it's fraud. Well, you can't say both of those things. It has to be just that the whole thing is fraudulent, and that's the only thing that we're going to say until everybody gets on board, as Chris would say. Just going to keep getting the hose, and Trump is, I think, maybe telling you how many different settings the hose has.
Yeah. Speaking of people getting mad at us for things we say, the new thing they're probably going to get mad at us for is our Juneteenth ad for Soft Disclosure. I think I'm going to play it. Okay. And I quick combed through it, and I originally got the idea, and we were going to do somebody in blackface, and we didn't quite do that, so we should be all right. But
permanent
check
blackface.
It out. What?
Permanent blackface.
Yeah.
He changed his shirt 3 times before he left. Tried on a smile that didn't
Everybody saves.
Everybody.
Even me.
Especially you.
You mean I just have to use a promo code to get the discount?
BB truly is an idiot.
Hi, fellas. What year is it?
Soft disclosures for everybody.
Man, very convincing there.
Yeah.
I was just reminded by seeing that I had forgotten about Green Star's DM from several days ago where he was like, do you want to record some voice lines? I'm guessing that was what the voice lines would have been for.
Yeah, that's probably it. And I do realize I accidentally left the Chef IQ ad QR code up for like 6 minutes. So wonder if we're probably gonna get paid out from that now because but whatever. That was super funny and absolutely nailed it again.
I would say
as he always
Zach,
does.
blackface Zach looks less dark than regular Zach.
Well, the original idea actually came from Spetzel in our chat. And he's like, dude, I got a Juneteenth idea for you. You should have like somebody trying to go get lotion and he thinks it's only for the black people. So he like dresses up and you can have Bernie Bright dress up in blackface. And then he realized like, oh, like the discounts are for everybody. I don't have to wear blackface to get it. And it was a pretty good idea. But I think this is probably the better way to execute
More accurate,
it. So
yeah.
good. Yeah. Oh man, freaking Green Star, he's amazing.
He was looking good there.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I don't know what and we shouldn't get kicked off of YouTube because that's all original AI music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Damn straight.
I wanted to show you Tim Pool on
Oh, please don't.
I have to. Because he's talking about election fraud again. And we need to remind the people about what Tim Pool once said. Okay. So this was him. This got shared by Elon Musk. It was everywhere. 26 million views. When you're rushing to find the votes to knock out the sole Republican, you don't have time to balance out the count to look plausible. Okay? Harping on the election fraud. Just want to remind everybody what he said in December of 2021 about discussing election fraud. Okay, super important.
Joe Biden is the president.
An illegitimate president.
And well, as soon as you bring up the election stuff, we are completely obligated to address it.
Okay.
We absolutely have to. We'll be deleted off YouTube in 2 seconds because of that conversation. And so I think one of the biggest impacts on the 2020 election was universal mail-in voting, not because of any kind of fraud. I certainly think, like what Bill Barr said, yeah, there's fraud. We don't think there's that. Is there enough? And I've not had anybody come to me. You've got wild and crazy accusations from people like Lindell and Sidney Powell. But when it comes to the more like, we want to do a forensic audit, nothing definitive has come out to the point where it's been laid out. And I agree with Mike Cernovich, too. When Trump came out and started talking about all this fraud, it was effectively voter suppression because they convinced people not to go out and vote. So I look at this 2 ways. We've had multiple people on talk about this. I have not been convinced. And then we've also seen the detriment to future elections because of the narrative that there's no point. And I think that is something we need to avoid.
Man, the second half of that I had forgotten.
Effectively voter suppression,
which is more relevant now because everybody in this community in the sort of Trump base before 2024 was on the same page in terms of the election was stolen in 2020, etc. Right? But going back to the previous conversation here. The number one cudgel that is used to go after us within Badlands, alpha, and without it, is that exact argument that Tim Pool is putting forth. And, it doesn't mean that Tim Pool has never said anything true. Usually you have to mix a lot of truth into your bullshit in order to grift really effectively. But my sort of code, or one of the reverse indicators I would use to live my life is if you find yourself mirroring Tim Pool statements, maybe you're not info warring really hard. So anyway, if any of you guys in chat have been any of the people coming after us and saying we're gonna suppress the turnout in 2024 for the midterms, that's the company you're in.
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous to me, and Chris says this, about a lot of things. Anytime he's been like proven right, we were actually just talking about this earlier today. Mm-hmm. Anytime he gets like proven right about something, that he said 4 years ago, and when we talk about it, like it's not us trying to get credit for being right, although maybe for some people that's what they do, but it's more so being like, it was true then, and it's also true now, and we could have been saying it the entire time.
Yeah.
You could have just kept saying the thing. Or, like what we're seeing right now with the Spencer Pratt thing, this is like the most socially acceptable it's been to talk about election fraud in a long time. And it's not Trump on the ballot either. It's freaking reality TV star who ran a pretty fun and interesting AI campaign. And now it's all like all the influencers who never got kicked off YouTube, never got kicked off Twitter. They're the ones that are like, yeah, we're going to make talking about election fraud cool again. But guess what? I bet nothing, I don't know, I'm skeptical anything will come of it. But it also reminded me, because the rhetoric we're seeing is again, like, I'm expecting them to find fraud. They're going to prosecute fraud. I think they already prosecuted some lady that James O'Keefe ended up finding, harvesting ballots, or what, I don't even know what she was doing exactly, but she's going to face like 5 years in prison. But it brings me back to this declassified memo we got back in April. And it's a memo from January of 2020. And in here, it's our own intelligence community acknowledging that an adversary could manipulate voting results across multiple jurisdictions and enough states to influence a presidential election. Like, that is possible. Our intelligence community said it was possible. The reasons they said that it wouldn't actually happen is because we would have like audits, which we've never gotten. We would have like, it involved too many people, and like the media would be there to be like, well, what's going on here, guys? We've never had any of those things, right? We've never had an honest reporting or audit or any of that with the election system. And they allow it to go on. They're willing participants. But this is the type of discussion that I think we will be having more in depth. I'm hoping next week or whenever. I think Bill Pulte's starting on June 19th. And I believe Tulsi Gabbard said she is releasing the reports before she leaves office. So if that timeline's right, that's like a week or so. And we'll get those things. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then, of course, the retroactive, circle jerk is going to be, we knew that the election system was fraudulent. Well, the only people who were saying that during the elections that we quote-unquote won were demonized by all of these people who are then going to say, so to your earlier point about like this was true at the time and Chris been saying this stuff for years, the reason we get so pissed off about it is not like this ego thing. It's, and yeah, it's annoying, want to respond to it, but it's that if you think, as somebody in the chat just said, almost like we're watching a movie, like, yeah, if you think there's a plan, then isn't the plan to figure out that the election system is fraudulent? Isn't that one of the parts of the plan, right? Do you guys think the plan is to have people trust in the fraudulent election system? So if the plan is to wake up, let's just take that at face value. The plan is to reveal to the people that the election system is fraudulent. And you think that us talking about the election system being fraudulent is threatening the plan? It's crazy. It really is at the point where it's like, if you actually front run the plan, you're helping to push it along, I would think, by calling the system fraudulent, if the plan is to have everybody understand that the system is fraudulent. So it's like this Santa Claus type of thing going on in segments of the truth community where we're not supposed to talk about the thing. It's not even like the truth community doesn't believe this. What makes it so much worse is they do believe it. They just don't think we're supposed to talk about it. And Alpha does this all the time. He will talk till he's blue in the face about how the system is fraudulent and it's rigged and all this kind of stuff, but we shouldn't be talking about it the way we are. And that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's a certain subset of people out there who are like, oh, Badlands is irrelevant. They're dying, they're irrelevant. Right. But also they're going to cost us the entire midterms.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, which one is it, guys? Are we irrelevant, or are we too relevant and costing the midterms because of our words? Mm-hmm. Can't be both. But yeah, I mean, this debate, we've been saying already for like 6 months or longer that it's not going away. And the people, like, nobody's going to change their opinions. The people who think we should be voting, they still think and always will think that we should be voting. The people who don't, they're not going to change their opinion either. But everybody's, it's emotional time. People are so angry on social media lately. Maybe ever since the black guy murdered the white kid, everybody's just at each other's throats. That whole conviction came out yesterday, sentenced to prison, 35 years, and another race war is about to start.
Well, speaking of that, there's definitely, in terms of normie internet, not even saying not for good reason, but Europe is popping off with back to back in the last few weeks. We've had the Henry Novak story, and then the Belfast stabbing a couple of days ago.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, these are, let's assume that they're real. Let's take them at face value for the purposes of this show. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And it is important to guard against being whipped up into a frenzy, because that's what the system wants you to do. But it is tough, because we've also talked on this show for a few years about the idea that, or at least I've advanced the idea that I think things in Europe are going to be a little bit more kinetic and rough, en route to whatever world we're moving into, than it is here. And I think, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. You've got that stuff going on in Belfast, and you know, it does get to that point. We had this conversation on OnlyLands on Friday night. I started the show by saying, like, yeah, we like to suppress conversation about another civil war, and then Alpha and Ash were talking about how sometimes it's necessary. But I think that it's the most difficult conversations to navigate in the quote unquote like awakening space, because it does get to a point, just like we talk about with the fraudulent election system, where if voting isn't working, let's say you're in Ireland, it's not really working. And when your police force and government is just taking victory laps about the invasion that they are fomenting against you, I don't know what the recourse is. I mean, the founding fathers of the United States did kind of mark it down pretty clearly what you're supposed to do in that situation, but I don't know, man. Like, I think things are getting a little crazy over there.
I got to tell you, when I was reviewing, like on Tuesday, we had our like little team meeting with the people in the back end, and we were reviewing like the YouTube copyright, like, because we'll get flagged for copyright stuff all the time. And OnlyLands got flagged. Normally we take OnlyLands off YouTube for the outro videos and stuff at the end. And I was like, what the hell? What do we get flagged for? And I went and looked, and it was like gorilla mating fight or something. Like something ridiculous. I don't know what you guys...
We watched a bear fight. Really, that got us copyrights.
It was like bear. Yeah,
I thought it was like music only that was going to get us.
It was bear mating.
Wow. So it was like whatever photographer owned that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got a copyright.
It's all just
that,
AI now. Yep.
It's super funny. But anyway,
I will watch bear video. What we're going to have to start doing is have AI reproduce the clip we want to use.
Just in really dumbed down form.
Time, and just like change it up a little bit.
Oh, we could totally do that.
Yeah.
We could describe like, hey, this is the video. This is how we want it to go, do in like super cartoonish, dumb format, and then we can play that for people. Like, this is the gist of it. Apparently the Knicks just came back and won. They were down 29 points at one point. That's nuts. Basketball is faking gay though, so.
That's true. Well, it's definitely gay.
But watch them spin this again against Trump somehow, because when Trump was there, they lost. And everybody likes, oh, it's Trump's fault. The energy in the building was just down because Trump was there.
Yeah.
And now that they won, they're going to invert that and say it's because he wasn't there. Everything's a anti-Trump op.
Yeah. They're all freaking out about the White House event, comparing it to the Roman Colosseum and everything. And I'm like, it's one of those situations where I agree with the framing, but just invert what it means. But I do think he's playing into a lot of this stuff. You know, Ghost on the narrative like a month ago, we did the whole episode that a lot of people really liked about Trump and the sort of the NWO. And we were looking at speaking of copyright claims, I kept begging Ghost to stop playing 8-minute segments of the Netflix documentary, but he just ignored me. But he was talking about the idea of like the Trump heel turn. Trump's been a heel to half the American people the whole time in their minds, but that there's a more direct heel turn going on right now. And a lot of it, the first half of this show, it's like he's talking about building the freedom arsenal. And man, if you told me it was George W. putting all those True Social posts out, if I thought things were real, this is the funny irony, the paradox of my position in the info war or somebody like Chris. I think most of this is fake, which is why I think it's so great, because I think it's having really good effects. If I thought it was real, like for the few people in our audience who think everything is real, and they're like, why don't you think it's real? If I thought it was real, as described, I would probably not align with almost anything that's going on. Because on the surface level, I don't want to be carpet bombing the Middle East. But
yeah,
many such cases.
But dude, that's the point. Like, you're not supposed to align with half the shit, because half the shit Trump does right now, he's doing on purpose because he doesn't want you to align with him, and some of it's cartoonish, like literally. Yet people just, this is the whole, and we've gone over this. People don't like it, but I don't really care. It's the cheerleading. Like, Trump does not want cheerleaders, even though he says he wants them. That's another good example. He doesn't actually want that, because he's not going to be there forever. He's trying to teach you how to operate when he's gone. He wants to give the government back to we the people. He wants you to act like in your own self-interest for the things that you actually want, to operate on first principles. And so many people are refusing to do it.
I totally agree. During the early part of my Iran War series, I named the second entry in that Trump's test. And it was really about, it was not only about the American people, but that was one of the factions I named in there, of saying, like, who is being exposed on the back of the Iran war narrative. And it's exactly what you're saying. In my opinion, if you are just blindly cheering for these things, you're not only not doing, not helping Trump's agenda, I think you are actively undermining it and subverting it. And this ties right back into our election conversation that we're unfortunately going to have until it is solved. If you are trying to suppress the people who are calling the election system fake, which the only other figure doing that is Donald Trump, you might be stopping the plan that you think we are stopping by refusing to acknowledge what Trump wants you to acknowledge, which is, this is fake. I will no longer participate in it. You, as the tribune of the people, must do something about it. Many such cases. I just think the UFC framing in the Coliseum is funny, because I really think he's leaning into this, like, Emperor Trump motif. I love it, but
it's the caricature of Trump. We used to talk about this all the time. Like, we'd play that old clip of Trump back in the day when he was like super measured and calm and like thoughtful in his response. And he's almost cartoonish now, because he leans into what the media like portrays him as, and they believe that he is that thing when he's not. It allows him so much leeway to operate, kind of like do things beneath the surface that they do not expect of him, or just don't even pay attention to whatsoever, because they have such low expectations of him because he leans into this stuff. I mean, I'm mostly looking forward to the UFC fight because of the decoded and promised now military tribunals that we're going to be having. So
did you already pull that up on another show?
I did on my show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad one, like, for the decode community, and it was from a big name.
They're all bad ones, bro.
It was from one of the biggies. Yeah, they're all bad, but I mean, there's a lot of them that usually the decodes have so much plausible deniability and innuendos and generalities built into it that they're never right or wrong. It's like Gandalf arriving to the Shire. He's never early, he's never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. If they didn't nail the decode, it's because you didn't interpret their decode correcally. So
this
why don't you
isn't
take us through this decode?
I think this isn't the one that we originally saw, but it's some other. This guy has 200,000. That's insane. Y'all see the EBS logo in the backdrop of the UFC stage. The end, 162 Knicks, 162. I don't understand any of this. Stage is set. Whatever. The screen part, though, this is what I kind of harped on. Is they've literally done this.
Yeah, do you have those screenshots pulled up?
Yeah, I'm trying to find them right now. Literally every other. What the fuck?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't get the context or didn't see that show when John talked about it, it's the jumbotron or screen test that the UFC does. I'm sure every sporting event or concert or whatever does this at every single event in history ever. They've been doing it since the 60s and at rock concerts and beyond. and you had big, there you go, UFC 193. That's how far back they were planning stuff.
November of 2015. And I can go back
Yep.
further with this one. This is 129. What was 193? 129.
Jeez, that's how far back. And in Toronto, I was at that fight, actually.
Yeah, that might have been...
That was, I think, unless that's the St. Pierre fight. I was at John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson in Toronto, and everybody there thought it was going to be one-way traffic, and it ended up being like one of the greatest fights in MMA history.
Wow.
Gustafsson almost got him.
This is what we're poking fun at. Like,
yeah, on two levels, and I know we harp on this, but this is why. You've got the account I saw posted originally was one of the biggies of Qfluencers. And this is the great irony. As I've said, I've been a Q guy. And for the people that think us shitting on shit decodes is upending the plan or somehow disrupting the plan, if you believe that there's a plan and if you believe in the veracity of the Q drops, which much of our audience does, and I still do, this is the type of shit we're talking about. You've got people posting a screen test for a UFC event and saying that it's worked into the plan. On two levels, it's insane. The first level is that it's obviously wrong, and if you thought for 1 second before posting it, you would know it's ridiculous. A ridiculous decode has nothing to do with any plans or anything. Second, if it was part of the plan, it's almost worse. Because what you start to ask these decoders, and they can never answer you, is like, okay, let's say it was part of the plan. What is it for? You're telling me that, who are they signaling to? They're signaling that something plan related is going to happen at the UFC event that you're all going to watch anyway and decode the entire thing. But they're signaling somebody.
I don't know.
There
was no explanation. It was just EBS, 10 Days of Darkness shit.
But the problem with people endorsing this stuff is not that they're going to ruin any kind of plan, because I don't think it affects anything. I don't think it is messing with Trump's agenda. I don't think it actually affects us in a negative way. But the funny thing is, when you're retweeting people like this that decode stuff every day and they're wrong about every single thing they decode, and they use the same decodes over and over and over again for different things, when you do that, you are actively making them money by them doing that. So you're actively incentivizing false decodes. Yep. And that is what has become of large segments of the Q audience, is that they are monetizing false decodes. So it's become the ultimate irony, where it's like you're creating the engine of the very thing that is siphoning psychological energy away from the movement that you think you're supporting.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but we've probably harped on this enough and people are going to get mad at us for it regardless. So it is what it is. There's another story. Should we talk about the Bill Pulte stuff too? Talk about blowing up decodes, because Trump did that a couple times today, the last couple days, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, maybe you won't. It was decoded. I'll just say it. It was decoded that Tulsi Gabbard was leaving on June 30th, and that aligned with something else. And so it was like, see, whatever. They didn't explain what it even meant. They're just like, here we go. Told you.
Match.
And then Trump came out and said this, totally upending the date. William Pulte, who is working closely with Tulsi Gabbard, will be taking over as acting director of national intelligence on Friday, June 19th, which you would think that those who decoded the June 30th would have come out and apologized and said, oh, I guess I was wrong. No, just totally move on. Laser focused.
Disinformation is necessary, John.
That's true. I always forget that one. He will remain as director of director of the Federal Housing and Finance Agency and chairman of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then he goes on to put another one. By the way, congrats to Lindsey Graham on his victory because of Trump's endorsement. He's, the Senate's greatest power bottom. Oh, man. God, these things are so annoying. I hate it when he does this. You're absolutely right. He should have a whole nother account for it.
Yeah. You just do that sigh when you go to check his feed, and it's like the endorsement picture that you just scroll, and then you'll skip past like a nice beefy post about the resumption of the very violent ceasefire.
Yeah, well, this is actually a pretty interesting topic here when it comes to Pulte and the 702 stuff. Just like they did on the border funding, the radical left Democrats are trying to take our national security hostage because of unrelated issues. They should stop playing politics with the safety of our great country. I've named William Pulte to be acting director of national intelligence, who will take over on June 19th, and have asked him to execute the immediate and needed downsizing of the Office of reverting staff to their home agencies. At the same time, I'm looking for a permanent ODNI nominee with experience in national security. FISA 702 is very important to our military and keeping the American people safe, especially during the World Cup and America 250 celebrations. If nothing is done, this important law will expire this week. I'm asking Congress to send me a short-term extension of FISA to provide time for the selection and confirmation of a permanent head of the agency. I would like to thank Director Pulte for his time and commitment, President Donald J. Trump. Obviously it's interesting he's talking about downsizing this. We talked on Saturday about him potentially dismantling this. I think that's even more interesting, talking about sending all because it's made up of all the different intel agencies, reverting them all back to their home agencies. Love it. The FISA 702 thing, though, Trump was originally against this. I've always been against it. Most people should have always been against, like, end the FISA program. And all of a sudden Trump is like, switches. He's like, yeah, I want this thing now. And then he nominates the guy that he probably knew this was going to happen from the beginning, that it wasn't going to get, like, they were going to do this. And he's continuing to move forward with it. He's asking for a short-term extension. Ironically, like him saying, we need to pass this because we have the World Cup coming up. If you think for a second that our intelligence community is not going to do what they always do anyway, regardless of whether the FISA 702 authority is passed or not, you're joking yourself. They're going to do it regardless. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But right now they have like the green light to do it. I'm okay with that not being there.
Right. Yeah, and the secondary point, or the point I'd make on this is last week we talked about the Pulte appointment under the framing of, does this seem like a very serious appointment if you are looking to amplify the U.S. intelligence community? Would you put somebody in charge of it who has no experience in that line of work? And we had said, no, you probably wouldn't, because if there is a military plan, who is that military plan against? It's against an American insurgency. Who is the power structure of that American insurgency? American intelligence.
Have the clip. Have the clip. Let me play the clip.
Yeah. Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country. From the Russian...
Destabilize a foreign country. And, I like the Linda McMahon framing of Pulte, but it doesn't even have to be this dismantling. I think I had put it last week, like he's putting them in a closet. He's putting intel in a closet. He's just putting, if you think of it as a controlled demolition, that's fine. You're muted.
But I said right next to the burn bags. That's where.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the same closet. That's where everything is kept. So that's a way to look at it. Even if there isn't this dismantling going on, it just looks like a siloing of the U.S. intel community while the adults do the real work.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. The intelligences are the enemy. Trump finally signaling like he's going to move forward with that. And that's what we always wanted, right? So think about the interim period between Trump getting into office and everybody's like, let's destroy the intel agencies. Trump gets in, nominates Tulsi Gabbard, who everybody all of a sudden loves, and like, okay, now we love the intel community. And then today, or recently anyway, he's like, okay, well, I actually want to get rid of the intel community. A lot of people got mad at us for not cheerleading. Again, I know we keep harping on this, but it's on a long enough timeline. We've been right about most things, but we get shit for it all the time. And so I know we said earlier we don't bring it up, or we don't bring it up because like it's a pride thing or whatever we said, but it partially is because you guys don't understand how much shit we've got for some of these things. But maybe cheerleading for it the entire time in the middle was the wrong thing to do. And I think we're being proved right about that. I hope he fucking dismantles the shit out of that. And same with the Department of Education.
Yeah, the funny thing is, and Chris is obviously the one who talks about this from a first principles framework a lot. But if you believe in the original, like on a foundational level, if you believe in Trump's 2017 Steve Bannon written speech about returning power back to the American people, ostensibly everybody in our audience probably thinks the American people, i.e. them, deserve that power back. So that would imply that you, in the audience, believe that your vision for your life and for the future of this country is a good one, and that you should have some measure of control over that the American people should have some measure of control over that. The idea that advancing first principles, logical, and most importantly, moral arguments toward the direction you as an American want the country to move in is going to disrupt the plan is what the biggest problem to me is. It's not even about the credit or the shit talk or all this kind of stuff. It's more like on a foundational level, if we're all broadly right that there is this plan for Donald Trump and the military to return power back to the people, how do you think you exercise that power? Like, what does that mean to you?
You think I would tell you if I knew exactly what it would be?
If you think we're disrupting it, it's like, so when you have the power back, then are you allowed to forward first principles arguments about what you want the government to do? Or would you at that point be disrupting the freedom government by questioning it? So it's a silly paradox. It's not something most people in our audience are afflicted with, a condition like that. But it's almost like a plan derangement syndrome. Like you believe there's a plan, but you think if you say what you want that plan to be, you're going to ruin it. If that's true, then it means you didn't agree with the plan. And it's just
no. And we've had this discussion so many times. It's the fact that nobody actually wants to admit they don't know what the plan is, but then everybody gets mad at people who don't agree with their whatever version it is. Like that's what I think we get the most hate for when we talk shit about not the Q drops, but certain decoders and their behavior.
Yes,
that's what we get so much shit for. But I think we deserve to like call out the bullshit when we see it, even though we don't do it directly, mainly because a lot of them are involved in the lawsuit shit. But maybe eventually. Is this called esoteric? I gotta something in the chat. Something in the chat was saying like, I want my Constitution back. I think it was a rock justice. The Constitution, that's all I want. That is what we've been advocating for, and that's what we want too. Like we want to go back to the more original form of the Constitution. He said, and the Fed. Like, yes, get rid of all of these unconstitutional agencies. That takes a lot of like. There's so many things that our government is so damn big that need to be stripped away and completely dismantled. And to sit here cheerleading for a lot of this stuff, thinking that those agencies are going to fix those agencies, that's just absurd. Like that's just such a warped train of thought. And I don't know how we even got here sometimes when I look at the state of the truth community.
Well, and the Pulte example, to bring us back to that, is an example of our framework is plan-oriented. It is informed by the framework with which we approach a lot of Trump's appointments and moves is that there's an overarching plan that broadly aligns with our vision for the country, this audience's vision for the country. So when we look at an appointment of somebody like a Pulte or a Linda McMahon to the Department of Education, we are operating from that foundational layer that Trump has a plan that is broadly aligned with our vision. This is why it's actually not that difficult to do this without having to decode anything. Because if, for example, the Department of Education, do you in the audience, in the MAGA movement, think there should be a powerful Department of Education? The answer to that is no. So when Trump appoints somebody to it, and we say on a show, I think that they should just tear the whole thing down, and that this is kind of a nothing appointment, this is not a serious thing, and then are criticized for it, it turns out that that is what the plan is, right? It's like steel chair from the top rope on the Department of Education. Not that I'm saying that has actually come to fruition, but that's what we were calling for at the time. That's what we're also calling for when it comes to Pulte's appointment. That's all plan-oriented stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's all good stuff and good things to advocate for, but...
Sorry, I got to show you this. I saw a great meme. Did you see this stuff with the Kushner and the island he's doing?
No.
Apparently, he's trying to build a resort near Albania, and a bunch of people are taking to the streets to protest in Albania against this. Like, a bunch of people over there are super pissed off. And then I just saw this meme. Jared and Ivanka warned Trump that Albania is just 3 weeks away from a nuclear weapon.
That's good.
This is a great meme.
We have to see if there was Sorosian funding for the protests, but anytime I hear protests now, they've made protesting such an industry that you're like, so this is an op.
Oh, they all are. Very few organic protests.
A real protest? Is there ever going to be a real one again?
Speaking of real protests, you guys should all come to GART, the Great American Restoration Tour. Well, we are protesting the just insane ridiculousness of our current form of government, but we're celebrating the restoration and what it could be and trying to get us back there. So badlandsmedia.tv/events. You can come join us in person. We have single day tickets now available. We sent out an email to attendees about the little golf outing we're going to be doing on Thursday morning. I'd encourage you, if you can make it, to come to that. But also tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, we are doing our next exclusive live stream for in-person or virtual ticket holders. You have to be a ticket holder, but you can come hang out with us for an hour. We talk about the event. We talk about whatever, but we mainly try to narrow down what we're going to be talking about at the event. And we're also doing something pretty unique this time, a little mock trial type situation that Drake and Ash have been putting together. It's going to be intermixed throughout the weekend. It's going to be pretty cool. They explained it to me yesterday. And
who's on trial? Is it a secret?
It's a secret.
I think
probably the guy wearing
one of these guards. We need to get a dunk tank of some kind.
Maybe Vegas. I bet we could find one in Vegas.
We put Alpha in clown makeup. He's used to wearing outfits. We put him in the dunk tank, and we have him debate Chris again after the midterms.
Oh, but our Vegas guard is before the midterms.
What about Florida?
Florida will be, let me look. Florida is going to be November 12th. It'll be right after the midterms. They probably wouldn't have stolen it by then, but maybe they would have.
They might be in the process of stealing it, and then Alpha can shame us for not voting hard enough because it's going to allow the steal.
Yeah. Anyway, badlandsmedia.tv/events. You can see the rest of our conferences for here in 2026. June 25th, 28th, Deadwood, South Dakota, Las Vegas in September, and St. Pete Beach, Florida. If you can make it to any of them, great. If you can make it to all of them, even greater. But yeah, Deadwood's
Bright and I saw the venue in person, St. Pete Beach, last month. We were down in that area and took a little ride down there. It was being renovated. We were assured the renovations will be done well before the event, but awesome stretch of beach and cool outdoor area, fire pit, big pool. Should be a good time. Outdoor bar.
Awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, man. With that, how do you feel about getting to the rants? We didn't get many tonight. Somebody sent in, how can you call in besides a Discord? I don't know. We don't do that. We don't really do call-ins on this show. We should try that. That would be, speak of devolution, that would devolve instantly.
Yeah.
But we try. We've actually done it. We've done sorry, what were you saying?
Didn't you and Zach do call-in or something recently, or did I maybe?
Yeah, we do call-ins. Well, I do call-ins every now and then on my Friday show, but also me and Zach have done it. We kind of do like once a month or so on Basis Conspiracies, and they've all been really, really good. We haven't had many bad ones.
Nice.
1027JS left a boost over on badlandsmedia.tv/boost for $20. Says thank you. Thank you, Joe, my fellow North Dakotan. We also got somebody became a Badlander for $10. This is Ran132. That's monthly support. So we truly appreciate that, guys. It always helps. Thank you for your efforts in providing a community in this time of great disruption. And then I thought there was one more. became a Badlander. Yeah, there's an MSD that I missed last week for $25. Says thank you for all you do. Enjoy your shows.
Nice.
Awesome.
I want to show tomorrow night on Badlands Story Hour. You guys should watch last week first if you did not. We are doing The Godfather Part 2. I watched this Tuesday night. I had never seen the Godfather movies. Somehow. Never seen them. Godfather 1 was really, really good. It held up. 1972. Godfather Part 2 was absolutely incredible to me. I knew it was good. I heard it was good. And I heard it was considered one of the better sequels ever made. I'm not sure how the Godfather audience feels about which is better between the first and the second, but man, I thought the first was a great movie. I thought the second one took it to a whole other level. Lots of stuff to discuss in that one. We talked about comparisons between how Donald Trump operates and Vito Corleone. Now, speaking of Trump heel turns, is Trump kind of affecting a Michael Corleone turn in his second term? I think that might be what's going on. And then besides that, so that's tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Badlands Story Hour. Chris and I have been saying recently, you're probably getting more news about real things, talking about movies from 1974, than looking at true social posts about the Iran war every day. And also, in the place of the narrative, Sunday night, I will be hosting the Badlands watch party, basically, for the UFC Freedom 250 event, the worst named event ever. Doesn't roll off the tongue, but you guys can join me. The fights will not be on the stream. We will not be simulcasting the fights, so you need to get a Paramount subscription. You don't have to buy a pay-per-view, but you need a subscription to Paramount, the streaming service, and you can watch the fights there. They start at 8 p.m. Eastern. My show usually goes live at 9, but John Drake said he actually might go do his show early, and maybe I will jump on at 8 o'clock. So either 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern on Sunday night. Join us. You guys can watch the fights. I'll indoctrinate you into becoming a fight fan. And there'll be all kinds of America shit and Trump stuff going on, I'm sure, the whole night that we'll pull up. And anybody at Badlands who wants to join at any point during the stream is welcome to do so, if you're a man.
Might do that. We'll see. Snowcat Operator gifted a subscription. Thank you very much. And so did our Hammer Guy 35 gifted $5. Good to see you, man. Says a little gas money for Badlands. We appreciate that gas money. And with that, man, I'll be back on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on my daily show. It's where I get to say all the things that I didn't get to say on this show because Burning Bright, sucked all the air out of the room. But I'm just kidding. I do have a great outro video. It has to do with fighting, has to do with AI and robots and the future and everything. So we're going to go out with this. This is a classic.
All right,
thanks, everybody.
Before we go, I wanted to tell you, John, I knew it was you.
I mean,
I knew it was you the whole time.
I don't know what you mean, but Peter Frederick 7145 gifted or gave us $20 over on YouTube and a couple thumbs up. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. But what did I do?
It's a reference to The Godfather.
Oh.
By the way, I have so not seen The Godfather that I didn't know Robert fucking De Niro was in The Godfather Part 2.
Man, I've seen it. It's been so long since I've seen it, but yeah, I knew that. I feel like everybody knew that. It's weird that you haven't seen it.
It's very weird that I've never seen it. Controversial take. I kind of like Robert De Niro's Vito Corleone better than Marlon Brando's version of him. They're both great. Very different walks of life.
Controversial.
Marlon Brando plays the original older Corleone, and then I see Robert De Niro pop up. I'm like, is that De Niro? What?
Young
so
De
all the
Niro.
Italians, and unfortunately, they all became Trump deranged, which is so crazy watching how base they seem in movies like The Godfather.
It's Hollywood, man. Fucking ruin people. Yeah, anyway, 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow night for Burning Bright, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, him and Chris. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Hit the thumbs up here, YouTube, wherever you're watching, Instagram, Power Hour with Girls or whatever.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
Twerk it up.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Oh!